Monday, January the 30th, 2017, and this is your Barbados Today afternoon update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, former Deputy Prime Minister and long-standing MP for the city, Dame Billie Miller, is expressing serious concern that the Hyatt-centric resort will get permission to be built along Carlisle Bay in the city. Speaking on brass tacks this morning, Dame Billie, who represented the city as member of the Barbados Labour Party from 1976 to 2008, is particularly worried about the impact the multi-story project will have on a series of historic buildings in the vicinity, as well as the adjoining Browns Beach.
I fear that when the pile driving or whatever instruments will be used to make the foundation start to do their work, they are going to imperil all of the buildings to which I've just referred. My particular concern is Bethel Methodist Church. This church was consecrated in 1844, exactly 100 years before I was born, and I know it well. At high tide, it doesn't need for a hurricane or storm to be coming or for any particularly bad weather. At high tide, oftentimes, the well at the back of the church premises, in fact, there's a car park there, overflows at high tide. So what I'm saying is that the water level is very high there.
Dame Billie also said she would prefer the hotel be built elsewhere inland. Her concern also extends to the sewering of the hotel and its implications for the wider city.
The sewerage coming into the Bridgetown plant at Lakes Folly is in severe, and I use that word deliberately, and it comes from the best sources, severe overload, and has been for many years. We've seen what happened at Worthing, and only in the very recent press I am seeing reference to the fact that the system on the south coast and that going into the Bridgetown search project is on the verge of collapse. The headline says on the brink of meltdown, and I know that there is a lot of truth in that. I am concerned about 250 rooms at the very least, I'm sure. What proposals the Hyatt construction would have for the soaring and the heavy load from that hotel, what it would be implications for what would happen at Lakes Folly.
Opposition MP Ronald Toppin has told Barbadians not to believe the government's assertion that the Chinese are investing in the Sarmlars Castle rehabilitation project. Toppin informed his St. Michael Northeast constituency branch meeting at Lawrence T. Gay Memorial School last night that what government was actually receiving was a loan which taxpayers will have to repay.
Firstly, it represents one of the biggest failures of the government to attract a foreign or private investor into the project. And therefore the government had to go cap in hand to the Chinese to get a loan. Now understand this. The government likes to talk about a major investment by the Chinese in Sarmlars Castle. There is no investment by the Chinese in Sarmlars Castle. All the government is getting from the Chinese is a loan that you and I have to pay back to the tune of around $170 million US that we will have to pay back because there was no one with the confidence in this government to decide that they were going to invest in that project. So bear that in mind, it is not any Chinese investment, it is a Chinese loan.
The principal of Erdiston Teachers Training College is asking government to speed up its completion of restoration work on the facility. Delivering her annual report to the college's graduation at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center during the weekend, Barbara Paris, however, expressed relief at the work done so far.
Many of the dormitories have now been renovated, are now being used as classrooms. Renovations have also been undertaken to the recreation room and the accommodation for the ancillary staff. New parks with adequate lighting have also been built. Express sincere thanks to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science, Technology and Innovation, and her staff for this long-awaited facelift, and look forward to the completion of the renovations to the library. We hasten to add that we anxiously await the restoration of Erdiston House, familiarly referred to as the main building.
In sport, today is the fourth round of matches in the Group B of the Regional Super 50 tournament in Barbados. Home team Barbados Pride look for their fourth straight win when they face Jamaica Scorpions in the feature match at Kensington Oval this afternoon. Also, Guyana Jaguars meet ICC America's Marooners, aiming for a second win to stay in contention. They were playing at the Windward Cricket Club this morning.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Get your paper, get your paper. Only $2.25, $2.20. Who? For what? That's Bear Stale News. I don't read about that on Barbados today since last night. That can't only care do. $2.20. Who?
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
In regional news now, prison officers in Trinidad and Tobago are up in arms against authorities after they were unable to respond in a timely manner to rioting that broke out at the maximum security prison over the weekend. 3 inmates were injured when rival gangs clashed, and the officers are blaming the continued non-functioning of the alarm system for their inability to take early action.
These were some of the improvised weapons seized yesterday afternoon at the maximum security prison after a fracas broke out between rival gangs at the maximum security prison in Division U. But the contention that prison officers have was that the fact that they were unable to raise an alarm for help before the situation got out of hand, that left at least 3 inmates nursing chop and stab wounds. They say, contrary to reports carried in the media earlier this week, the alarm system at the nation's largest prison is still not functioning, a problem that has plagued the prison, they claim, since 2013. President of the Prisons Officers Association, Sharon Richards, said they had been chastised last week for making a statement about the non-functioning alarm, and stressed that an alarm system was fundamental to security in prisons in any part of the world.
The officers who were in those divisions could not have raised an alarm that would have brought about assistance in a very quick and timely manner, consistent with what you would want in an emergency situation in any prison. So those officers had to depend on conventional ways, screaming and shouting and other means of raising an alarm.
Richards lamented that prisons officers at these high-risk prisons have still not been given stab-proof vests and other proper protective gear to efficiently execute their duties.
On the international scene, world leaders and prominent figures have blasted the U.S. President Donald Trump's temporary ban on citizens from 7 Muslim-majority countries from entering the United States as divisive, illegal, insulting, and discriminatory. Trump signed an executive order Friday barring citizens from Syria, Iraq, Iran, Yemen, Libya, Somalia, and Sudan from entering the country for 90 days, and also suspended the admission of all refugees for 120 days.
Coming from Sudan, we've heard them say that they regret this decision, and they say that there were warm relations or a warming of relations between Sudan and the United States that could be in jeopardy now. Also hearing from Yemen, who said that this will only support terrorists and it sows division, and they said there's no justification for it. Some really strong words, though, coming from Iran. They actually called in the U.S. The interest section of the U.S. in Tehran, that is the Swiss ambassador. They called him in to talk to him about this. They said that it was baseless, it was discriminatory. They said there was no legal justification for this. And so these countries very much angry. But if you look at other countries in the region, they're pretty quiet right now. A lot of them probably don't want to attract the ire of President Trump.
And that's news and sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.tbb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, our screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.